All right, so in this video, I'm going to be talking about an Ask Me Anything that Bobby Lee and Andrew Santino did on Reddit a couple years ago to promote their podcast, Bad Friends, and they just did not know what they got themselves into. People from the Fighter and the Kid subreddit ended up taking over and just asking all questions about Brendan Schaub and Chris D'Elia, and I don't think Bobby Lee and Andrew were prepared for this at all. I think their producer talked them into it, and they just regretted it instantly. And they also did it on the Joe Rogan subreddit for some reason, which I think made things even worse. And then right after that, they went on their podcast and talked about how big of a disaster it was, and they defended Brendan.
We had started yesterday.
We started yesterday. We did a whole thing, and
we
then
did
we
a
had
whole
to stop.
thing yesterday, and then we went, oh, we cannot air that.
No.
We cannot air that because it was like we were just in a spot.
It was a bad spot.
It was a very bad spot.
We did a bad. We can talk about it. We did a bad Reddit AMA that we did. Both of us didn't really like, and
We didn't like it.
it's just those things are not. They're hard to do. It's hard to be like I have to type as fast as I can, and we
not
both
only
are
that, it's just like Brendan Schaub's a good dude.
well, they were trying to. Yeah, they were trying.
Yeah,
to,
Brendan Schaub.
People were,
Let me just defend Brendan Schaub.
but wait, let's give it context. If people that don't know, we were on a Joe Rogan subreddit. That should we mention his name? Who put us on that?
Everyone knows. Okay, everyone listen, okay? out of the Bad Friends organization,
Yeah.
who would put us in a situation where it's not good for us?
Well, let me tell you something, Bobby. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, Bobby.
Yeah.
George threw us into a fucking Reddit.
I'm trying to help you guys. I'm trying to create content and trying to expand our horizons.
It's like, what?
Let me tell you something, Bobby. It's like an old car starting up.
So we did that, and then we have to answer questions. A lot of the questions had to do with Brendan
The
Schaub.
Schaub. They were all trolls because of Rogan.
Yeah, if Schaub, if Schaub was fucking your girlfriend, what would you do? It's like, what?
Film it? I don't know. Like, what do you want me to say to that stuff?
First of all, I wouldn't do anything. I would laugh. I would break up with Kalila, and I would move on.
So that's a pretty interesting question Bobby chose to address, and this was 2 years ago. So looking back on it, it's pretty crazy that this is the one thing that he brings up here, because also I looked through that AMA a few times, and I could have missed it, but I didn't see that question at all. So I think Bobby just saw all the Brendan Schaub questions and automatically thought of Brendan hitting on Kalila, because he did know that this was happening, but Kalila was denying it at the time.
Brendan Schaub.
Wait, who's spreading rumors that he ever hit on me? Is that you, Bobby?
He says it like every other podcast.
He does, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He hits on her.
He doesn't.
Oh.
He fucking does.
He has never.
And that
So obviously and understandably, Bobby was insecure about this because Kalila's denying it and he knows it's happening, which is not a very good sign. That's why I think he brought up that question, and his response was like, what do you want me to do? I'd laugh about it, then I'd break up with Kalila, which obviously is not how he would handle it. But it's also possible that Bobby just got the questions confused because somebody did bring up Theo hitting on Kalila and asked him what he thought about that, and Bobby actually had a pretty funny response. He said, if you can get it, have it. But I think Bobby's less concerned about Theo hitting on her because him and Theo are friends, and I think Theo's a nice enough guy where he wouldn't actually try to do anything with her. It's just mostly entertainment. But it's still not a good sign that your girlfriend is flirting with one of your friends and you have to rely on your friend not to do anything with her. So it's also funny that they defended Brendan here because during the AMA, they actually did answer some of the Brendan questions, which I guess they had to because those are pretty much the only questions. But they did take some shots at Brendan, and I don't know if afterwards they just felt bad for it, or maybe they got scared because they thought Joe Rogan might give him a call, because they did have some pretty good responses that I'm sure the trolls loved. This AMA, it was a mess, but I thought they were pretty funny on there. I thought they did a decent job with what they had. I mean, it's hard to handle stuff like this. So this person said, Bobo, how did you feel when Schaub copied you by buying the same sunglasses you have patented as your trademark look? And Bobby responded and said, he copies a lot of things from me. He's a dingy-dongy MMA guy, and he saw the life I was living, and he goes, duh, I'm gonna quit MMA and do what this little noodle is doing. And he mimics me, and obviously that comes with the territory. So I thought it was weird that this AMA was never brought up during all the Bobby Lee and Brendan Schaub drama, because I mean, it's not on the Fighter and the Kid subreddit and it doesn't prove anything, but this is Bobby on a Reddit trashing Brendan, and it's obviously a friendly thing. I don't think he means anything bad by it, and he defended him right after this. But it is proof that Bobby was trashing Brendan on a subreddit, and I'm sure Brendan's team was looking for any proof of that. But I guess BGL wasn't smart enough to find this. I mean, this is at least something. It's better than the 300 pages that nobody's seen. Like, this is at least something, even though I don't think this proves anything, and I still don't think Bobby did the Reddit stuff, because after this, Bobby defended Brendan, and during this, he wasn't expecting any of the Fighter and the Kid subreddit stuff, so he obviously wasn't aware of the subreddit, because Brendan claimed that Bobby's been posting on that subreddit for like 5 years, which is ridiculous. If he was, I think he'd be smart enough not to do this AMA. And also, I think this is part of just the whole back and forth that Andrew and Bobby were doing with Brendan and Theo. They'd like trash each other, then they'd respond, and it was like just a friendly thing. But I'm sure Brendan could have taken this the wrong way, because it is on Reddit, and they're responding to the Fighter and the Kid subreddit fans that just want to hear them trash Brendan. So Brendan could have easily been like, oh man, they're feeding into this. This is ridiculous. I thought they were my friends. So I don't know. It's just something interesting to think about. Let me know what your opinion is on it. And here's another Schaub question somebody asked. They said, how did you feel about Brendan Schaub's special? They responded, he's not special. Stop saying that. It's CTE. And then obviously the Fighter and the Kid subreddit people just love this. And somebody said, wow, this is hilarious. And I think it's also possible that after Bobby and Andrew responded with this stuff about Brendan Schaub, they saw like some of the comments and they heard some of the stories. Like this person said, Papa Rogan gonna end your whole careers for talking about his pet parrot Schaub. Somebody said 100%. And then there's also this, and I'm not totally sure about this. This is just alleged. I don't know if this actually happened, but somebody on the Fighter and the Kid subreddit said that a few years ago, Louis J. Gomez trashed Brendan Schaub, and Joe Rogan called him to make him apologize to Brendan and Brian. And that's just alleged. I don't know, because there's also this video attached here where he allegedly said it, but it's gone now. I can't find it. I think it was removed from YouTube or something. So maybe Bobby and Andrew saw this and read the comments and they're like, oh shit, I don't want to get in trouble with Joe. Let's just try to backpedal here and let's just defend Brendan. Or maybe Joe even called them and told them to do that. I don't know. There's a lot to think about here. So this is the top comment here. Somebody said, for both of you, who is your least favorite comedian and why is it Brendan Schaub? And then somebody said, please stop referring to Schaub as a comedian. And they did respond. They said Bob's least favorite comedian is Tao Ting. And I don't really know what that means or what it's referencing. Let me know in the comments if you do, or if I'm just like being an idiot and it's something obvious. But somebody like responded and they said, you mean Brendan's barber? He was Asian as shit. So I don't know what that means, but let me know if you do. And then here's one other comment that I saw they responded to that I thought was pretty funny. Somebody said, who is the best stool fucker at the Comedy Store? They said Callan flips it over, puts it up his ass, one leg at a time. Then for his closer, he puts all four in at once. So I think they actually did a pretty good job of handling this for the questions that they had, because I'm sure they were not prepared for this. You know, they thought they were probably just going to ask questions about their career or the podcast or something, but it was just all Brendan Schaub, Chris D'Elia, Joe Rogan, and some stuff that I'm sure Bobby and Andrew did not want to talk about. But they obviously regretted doing this instantly, and I'm sure they're really upset with their producer for having him do it. And it's weird, like in the beginning there when I played the clip of them talking about the AMA on their next podcast, it sounded like they already recorded a podcast or something, but they had to delete it because it didn't go well. I don't know what that was all about. But there's a lot going on here, and maybe some of this is related to all the Brendan Schaub drama recently. It's possible. You know, let me know what you think in the comments. Then make sure you hit the like button, then hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you at the next video.